Hey, guys, autumn is always a mantis season. Anywhere you look, they are everywhere, in the grass, in the bushes. As they are always interesting to watch, we decide to take one out of the wildlife and do some experiments. Our female is already an adult and quite large in size. It is clearly visible against the background of a matchbox. So, let's go directly to the experiment. We've wanted to test one theory for a long time. To be more precise, we have wanted to show the mantis a TV set with insects on the screen. The raccoon reacts to such an event approximately nothing, although it does not miss a single fly, but here it is not interested at all. Apparently, the table and the mat are much more interesting objects for it, so a raccoon isn't the one who will waste time staring at a monitor. What about the praying mantis? This one is immediately interested in the life video. It turns out that humans aren't the only ones who are willing to stare at a screen. But the mantis, unlike humans, can't distinguish between virtual and reality. It looks like another easy hunt for it. It's approaching and preparing its attack. So far, it's just following the fly's movements with its head. By the way, the praying mantis is the only insect that can turn its head, and so it attacks. But it can't realize how the victim has managed to escape from its clutches. The mantis goes into active attack, and it starts making attempt after attempt, but all in vain. The green friend doesn't realize it is an illusion, or maybe the mantis is so hungry it's willing to hunt the screen. Who knows when it last ate? Let's put a cockroach in the terrarium with the mantis. We've already made a terrarium for a new pet, but now It Boy, or rather It Girl, is busy with its manicure. But as soon as the cockroach is passing by, it immediately gets into the range of air defense and is knocked down. To be more precise, it falls into the clinging paws of a mantis full of sharp thorns, from which it is impossible to get out. In addition, while the cockroach is trying to escape, it begins to eat it. The cockroach isn't ready for that. This isn't a slow spider that lets the poison in and leaves. It's literally immediately. Note that the praying mantis has 2 pairs of antennae on its head near its mouth, which it uses to help shove food through. In the course of evolution, nature has given it the unusual organs it needs to survive. The next 7 minutes of eating will be shown in a time-lapse. It takes the praying mantis 7 minutes to completely cope with the cockroach. Now it's sitting there full and satisfied with only the cockroach's legs left. Everyone has their place in the food chain. Let's move on to the next experiment. We take 2 mirrors and put them in the corner of the terrarium. There is another way to trick the mantis's perception. Only this time it won't see the victim in the insect video. But it's a very worthy opponent. You could say equal in strength. How will it react to its own reflection? Will it attack or choose tactical retreat? So far, it's just sitting there hesitating to do anything. And the mantis has the stamina for hours. Probably it's waiting for its opponent to be the first to let its guard down so it can make a preemptive strike. When it moves, the opponent repeats the movements, but there is no attack. Maybe it realizes it's its reflection. But when we decide to tweak it a little, it starts to lunge at the fingers. Moved to a corner, the mantis finds itself among 2 members of its own species. By the way, science still doesn't know the principle of image construction that the praying mantis possesses. It's able to follow 2 different movements with 2 eyes at the same time. So it decides to cheat the system, turns its head away and thinks, "I'm going to turn my head and check whether they're looking at me or not. Don't tell me you didn't do that when you were a kid." The mantis has the courage to make contact. It seems to have realized that it is not that easy with these rivals, so it behaves with extreme caution. The next TV for the mantis will be a cockroach under a glass flask. This one, unlike its previous rivals, is much more active. That makes the mantis immediately come to its victim and literally rush straight to the attack. But it's the same as with the screen. The mantis doesn't understand why it can see the victim but can't grab it. It should be noted that the cockroach does not mind to get into the real world and get out of the TV. In this respect, the desires of the cockroach and the mantis coincide. It is difficult for the mantis to understand why suddenly its grasping tool begins to fail so often. But nevertheless, it does not put down its paws and still continues to look for opportunities to attack. The mantis is like a zombie, never leaving the TV set. It turns out how easy it is to create a sharp film from which it is impossible to tear yourself away. All you need is a mobile insect and a glass dome. We spent half an hour watching, and the praying mantis could not satisfy its interest and detach from the TV. Let's switch to another channel and show the mantis a second mantis on TV, but it's smaller in size. The bigger mantis looks and looks, and then it says, "Hey guys, is the reflection in the flask bothering you?" So we switch off the light. Because of the glare, you can't see the little mantis at all. It helps the shooting, but it doesn't add to the action. Two praying mantises is not an interesting sight. During the whole time of observation, which is more than an hour, only one attempt of acquaintance. You can see for yourself. If it was not for the glass partition, perhaps something more interesting would have turned out, but the purpose of our video is somewhat different. While we are filming the praying mantis, a fly gets on our nerves. Let's throw it to the mantis. It needs to feed not only on virtual images. And the green one carefully begins to approach the victim. It's afraid of scaring it off. When it gets close, its behavior surprises us. What's it doing now? Is it hypnotizing the victim? Then there is a lightning-fast dash and the fly turns into dinner. As it happens, the insatiable one starts its meal from the head. Now the fly won't bother anyone. The next day, we decide to see if the praying mantis will eat fly larvae. We've bought some larvae from a fishing shop and we're going to test it and find out who's faster, the big mantis or the little mantis, the youth versus the experience. Will the mantis eat larvae with the same appetite as the raccoon Hype does? Our pet eats larvae with such appetite. They don't even have a chance to run away. It snaps them like seeds, and one by one they end up in a place where the only way out is from the other side. Just have time to fill them up. It is the turn of the big praying mantis. The girl becomes active as soon as the alien appears in her field of vision, and it does not wait long and goes to the meeting. The process of capture takes literally 30 seconds, and the meal begins. It takes 3 minutes to get rid of the parasite, and on time-lapse, this process looks like 1 instant. Let's go on to the little praying mantis. And it proves to be a quicker hunter. Or that's the way things are, but the victim ends up in its clutches 20 seconds later. However, there is a considerable lag with eating. The size of the mantis plays its role. After 6 minutes, the larvae is still not eaten, and the praying mantis, having satisfied itself, goes away. It's time for us to finish. That's all for today. Bye-bye.